Hello everybody and welcome to the midweek marketing mix. My God, we're back. It's been a 3 or 4 week break and I'll tell you what, I'm so pleased to be back in the hot seat again. So I hope to the guys who are out there, so Shelley's Sweet Finds, how do we tune into this? I hope you now realise we've gone live, so we are now live. And look, as always with Google+, I've just realised the moment I've done that my comment tracker is now busted. It manages to flick itself off as we go. So typically, because I can't bring, Carmen, I can't bring you in. Carmen, looks like it's great to kick off the new year. Hello to everyone, here we go. She's doing the geek dance, which is fantastic. Zara, you're back in. Thank you so much for joining us. There's an awful lot of people here, so it's great. Look, what I was going to say is Midweek Marketing Mix, most of you will know the format by now. It's basically an hour-long show, there or thereabouts, with only the best guests. I basically pick my influencers who I follow, who have mentored me, who I find all their articles the most interesting, and I try and bring it to you guys. As some of you may know, I'm also one of these people who tries to test the boundaries a little bit in what I do, and some of you like it, some of you don't, but I'm probably one of the only Hangout hosts who uses the Showcase app. So most of what we're talking about here, including the people who are on this Hangout, you will find in the Showcase app. Now, this is new for this year. So if many of you out there want to comment on what we're doing and how we're saying it, normally I say to you, click the little button above my head. I'm going to try and see if this works now. And let's just see if this is going to work as well. Oh, there we go. Look, nothing is working today. My word. So my lower thirds aren't working. I don't believe it. Not having a lot of luck. There we go. It doesn't matter. So if you want to comment on the event page, basically go above my head. There's a little square with an arrow in it, and you can leave some comments in there that I can now speak about. So we'll be joined by, hopefully by Peg and by Gay Kawasaki, talking about the latest book, The Art of Social Media, which came out about a couple of months ago. And I've got these guys down below. Got Anna Bennett, the queen of Pinterest, for her second outing. And to show you just how good she must be, we were on the show last time and Martin Shervington was on and looking around and went to Pinterest, did a little search on there, and lo and behold, Anna was everywhere. So that's how good she is. We've also got Kimberly Reynolds as a debutante, who is not only, and this is what I like about you, Kimberly, look, you're the CEO of your own company, socialknots.com. You're the marketing manager for Social Media Examiner, and you're pretty impressive mum, is that right?
Well, I don't know if I'm impressive, but I'm definitely a mom.
Definitely. How many?
8.
8 children.
8. Well, disclaimer, I only birthed 6 of them. I have 2 stepsons, so, or bonus, I guess the new term now is bonus kids, so I have 2 bonus kids. So, yeah.
Giving birth to 6, though, my God. I haven't even given birth to 2.
Yeah, that was going to be good. I'm waiting to hear that story.
You don't want to know about that story. Okay, and then we've also got Ray as well. So Ray Hills is back on, again, the second show here for the Google Plus side, and it's great to have you guys on. So it's fantastic. But look, this is all about bringing you the latest sort of tips and tricks. And so I'm going to kick off with Anna. So Anna, let's talk about your Pinterest world. What's been happening while we've been away? What's going on?
Okay, well, there's been a lot going on, and I'll get into a couple of new stuff. But I think I want to start off with. I think when it comes to Pinterest, with social media and e-commerce, it's kind of been flirting for a few years now, and I really feel for the audience that's watching today, I really think you can't ignore the power of Pinterest any longer. I mean, if you do, you're probably throwing some sales away there. One statistic that I just came across is in terms of online sales contributed about $304 billion, and Pinterest is a huge part of that. I also came another statistic just recently in terms of Christmas Day sales that IBM came out with, and they're talking about mobile traffic, and I really wanted to emphasize on mobile today as well, that it accounted to about, 57% of online traffic on Christmas Day. And so Facebook and Pinterest were really definitely in the lead in terms of contributing to those sales. But what I found interesting was that, and I've told many people this time and again, that I really think that Pinterest will definitely take over social commerce in a big way. In terms of the referrals that drove from those stats, Facebook came out with about an average of $90 per order, while Pinterest referrals was at least around $100 per order. So what that tells you is that as marketers continue to rely on social channels to drive brand loyalty and sales, we really need to look at Pinterest seriously in a big way. After all, 70% of consumers, they rely on social media to guide their purchases. So it's important that you need to really embrace Pinterest, because there's so many stats coming out, from left to right about how it's out competing Facebook. And if any, for those, Facebook gurus out there, unfortunately, the growth in users isn't as strong. Actually, another research did come out that Pinterest and Tumblr were definitely in the lead in terms of the growth in user base. It's increasing more and more, while Facebook is unfortunately a lot less. So you're probably wondering like, why Pinterest? Let's see, a new report from Experian, as an example, Pinterest drove traffic to retailers' website. Pinterest drove about 11%, and Facebook only half of that. So really, from a business perspective with social media, there's really a rotation underfoot right now. Pinterest is still in its infancy. It's actually 6 years younger than Facebook, but it has, in terms of top spot in terms of buzz and attention, definitely social commerce. So in terms of measurable, financial business impact, it's definitely producing big time, which of course why businesses, all kinds, big and small, are really flocking to this visual discovery tool. And just this morning, I was just doing some research online, and I came across one analyst who actually is with Forrester Research, and she specifically said, and this was Mulpuro, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but she believes that Pinterest and Instagram will be one of the most favored networks in terms of social commerce. Global Web Indexed, again, just confirmed that Pinterest and Tumblr had the highest growth rate in users. So that's a lot that I just gave there, but
it's facts and facts and facts. And I mean, this is partly what this show is about anyway, but one of the things I wanted to pick up on a little bit was that there was a report out recently talking again about the e-commerce side of Pinterest, and that the problem with Facebook at the moment was the fact that it was graying, which I thought was a particularly funny sort of comment to make. But obviously they were alluding to the fact that the age demographic is moving towards a far older demographic, and as we all know, they are losing their younger demographic, which a lot of people have heard me talk about here, which is why I think there's a massive link with the whole world of virtual reality and Facebook, and they're trying to bring in the gaming environment within the younger generation to get them back. But what it also mentioned was the fact that the Instagrams and the Pinterest and the more mobile-orientated ones are growing significantly, and the growth is meant to continue dramatically.
Yeah, and that's due to a large part because, the millennials are the largest audience on Pinterest. So that, that has a lot to do with that. So yes, what's really great, used for small businesses because in terms of the promoted pins, they've opened that up to the small businesses. They're coming out with a Pinterest education forum for small businesses to help them figure out how to create better ads.
Have you heard the name for that?
Pardon me?
Have you heard this name for the latest for their college to help educate their marketers?
Yeah, they call it Pinstitute.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fitting,
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
It is. They're very good when it. Yeah.
But,
so that's really good news for businesses. So So for those businesses who have an e-commerce site, one of the things that I really do notice is that many people have still neglected to apply for the product rich pin, and what that is really is that it not only helps you to stand out on Pinterest, but it gives you this really amazing feature where anyone who will pin one of your products on Pinterest, if you have that rich pin integrated, you're going to get the user will get a price alert. So even if you drop your price, say by 10%, if you've pinned that image, you will get an email on behalf of Pinterest saying, hey, listen, that product that you had pinned, that price has gone down. And it really, and that's the thing with Pinterest. It's definitely women go in there with shopping mentality. But hey, in terms of male users, it's definitely growing as well. It's no longer that 80% of users are women, because the men are definitely getting on board with that, and a lot of it is because of a lot of the publishers, a lot of the digital publishers are on Pinterest, and they're getting so much traffic from Pinterest. Especially people like publishers like BuzzFeed as an example. I mean, their second social referral is Pinterest.
Absolutely, and I have to say, just picking up, you mentioned about the promotional pins there, because that was something which came out. Well, there's an article which I've put in the showcase app for you to see, those of you who are watching this live or recorded, that actually brings about the Pinterest search which was there, and also the promoted pins which are coming in. And there's some staggering results in there, and one of them was the fact that promoted pins are repinned on average 11 times, exposing an audience of more than 30% growth just from having the promoted pin side. So I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So you're definitely getting ROI. I mean, I do have a lot of clients that I work with, and we do a lot of the promoted pins, and it's tremendous how many more impressions they thought they would have originally received. So yeah, if you're doing the promoted pins, definitely Pinterest did exactly confirm that, yeah, you're going to get about 30% more views from your ads, which is, like I said, really, really great ROI. And promoted pins are still in its infancy. It's just amazing how only a few cents per clicks that you'd pay. So I've seen my clients pay anywhere from like 6 cents per click. I mean. And I mean, it's extremely affordable. So I really encourage small businesses to make sure that they open up a business account and apply for that promoted pins, because you do have to apply for it.
Absolutely.
Can I ask a question for clarification?
Of course.
From what I understand, if you do a promoted pin, you're only paying for the clicks on that pin. If someone repins it and then there's a click after that repin, you don't pay for that. You only pay for the original clicks, not repins. Yeah. So that's excellent. I mean, if that's the case, that's an amazing value.
Yeah, you got that right, Kimberly.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting place to be. And actually, just picking up a couple of the other quotes from the articles which came out, one of the ones there which said, ultimately, Pinterest aims to do for discovery what Google did for search. And that was another quote from one of the articles which is in the showcase app on your right-hand side if you guys are watching this wherever you are. So certainly there's an awful lot going on. And one of the things I like to think about Pinterest is the fact that one of the things with the internet is we've sort of missed this element of browsing. Certainly we can browse websites and we can browse Amazon for whatever, but Pinterest for me really sort of summarizes this world of browsing. Google is refining everything that we do. It's refining our search. It's, everything is matched towards keywords. What Pinterest is doing is almost totally the opposite, which I think is a lovely sort of anti-Google in that respect, and we can find what we want. So, look, thank you, Anna, as always. I mean, there's an awful lot of information in there, and there's a great lot of stuff coming in here. Eileen Smith, I was just saying, love Pinterest. So thank you, Eileen, for sort of putting these sort of comment in. Karen V. Chin, so glad you can join us from a bright and sunny California, which is good. And there's lots of sort of stuff coming in. And Julie, better late than never, glad to be here. Thanks ever so much, Julie, for joining us in here, which is great. Okay, we've had a few issues. Guy, welcome, by the way, you're in. We've picked a really good day to run this. Google have run 3 updates, so it's...
Well, the first problem is nobody sent me a notification or a link. How was I supposed to find this Hangout?
Guilty as charged. They went through Peg, and I'm afraid I sent the wrong link through, and then there's issues on the back end. So you know what? Hands up. And I think Peg's still having problems, so I'm getting an error from that link and the one that Ray Hill sent me. Right, Peg, I've sent you one through normal notifications, Peg. See if you can get that one. It's actually a revision of the one that I sent you earlier on, so let's see if we can get you in that way, Peg. So sorry for the problems, but like I said, we've had a few problems. I can't get comment tracker working. The lower thirds aren't working for me either. So three updates on the Plus today. It's going really, really well. It's working well. Peg, do you want again?
Let's all move to Skype.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I tell you what, it's funny. I've seen Peg must have joined us about 7 times and has then been kicked out about 7 times. Bless her.
Yeah, I made a comment that she's playing whack-a-mole.
Oh, hang on, she's joined again? Oh, she's gone again. There we go.
She has ADHD.
All right, let's move on. So we've done a little bit of Pinterest. So guys, thanks so much. And again, once again, if you guys are here and you want to ask questions to all of us on this board, or you just want to put some comments on what's being said, please do just use a little square with an arrow above our head if you're watching this on Google Plus and put it on the event page. We'll be more than happy to bring some comments and questions in. So look, we are joined by the mega mum, which is Kimberly, and look, I've got a little secret to make because we've got a lot of mums here, and Peg, oh, you're there.
I know, imagine that.
Oh, my life. That was monumental.
Google freaking bug.
Yeah, there was 3 updates this morning, so I was sitting here with bated breath when I started this out, going, do you know what? If we manage to make it to the end, it's going to be amazing. So welcome, Peg, anyway. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I was hoping to bring you on after Kimberly, if that's all right, because I was just introducing her as the mega mum, and I have a guilty sin that I'm gonna. No, it's not guilty at all. It's a non-guilty sin. I'm actually here as a working dad today, which is a bit bizarre. So I'm in my office, and look, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek because this is a bit naughty, right? So I'm just going to adjust this for a second. Let's see if you guys, if it stretches over my office. Can you see my little boys there?
Oh, nice.
They're my working lads, just enjoying a film. So you'll excuse me if at some point we'll get interrupted because they've got a film. They're watching Cars and they've got a massive barrel of popcorn to get through. So
nice.
When the popcorn runs out, I hate to think what's going to happen. So let's bring in Mega Mum. So look, Kimberly.
Popcorn is a vegetable for most fathers. So what's the problem?
Yeah, especially salted stuff. I like salted. Salted or sweet. I'm not really sure. Kimberly, what's been going on in the world? In social media, there must be a whole load of stuff cracking around.
Oh, always. Change is the constant, right?
Absolutely.
So, well, as Social Media Examiner, we launched something big and exciting yesterday, but I'll get to that last. I'll save the best for last. I'm just going to go over some of the newer things in social in the past month. A lot of you might already know of these changes, but LinkedIn is open publishing to everyone that speaks English, so anyone now can publish on LinkedIn. Let me see. Twitter announced some more details about the native video, which I think is really exciting. How Twitter and Facebook are both kind of trying to go toe-to-toe with YouTube as far as video goes, and not necessarily video discovery, but and I don't know all of the details about the Twitter video, but I do know that you'll be able to eventually upload your own native video to Twitter, and they're not going. I saw something just briefly glanced at that they are banning YouTube videos. So you can still share YouTube video links, but I guess you can't directly upload YouTube videos. I'm not sure how that's working, but I think that little rivalry is interesting.
Well, Twitter have been making some massive moves recently, haven't they? With putting sort of Twitter cards, and you can purchase through Twitter and all this sort of stuff. And funny enough, you mentioned about the Facebook side of things. They've just made 2 acquisitions in the last 2 weeks about video platforms. They've acquired Quickfire Networks, I think. There's another one that they've actually just purchased specifically to target video. So what you said, absolutely.
Well, you know, and I think video is interesting. Video is somewhat the bane of my existence because everyone, even we just did a survey, and video is huge. Everyone is very concerned about doing video, creating video. But video is hard to do, and it's hard to create video. It's a lot easier to speak, but to get in front of a camera like I'm doing right now, I mean, I might be the only one who gets nervous about it, but video is challenging, so it's going to be interesting to see how people embrace video. Did we lose me?
No, don't worry. You lost me. Don't worry.
Lost you? Okay, that's fine. No, kidding.
That was a deliberate loss. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, anyway, so then again, in video now, Facebook has added new video features for pages where you can feature a video and make it much more prominent, have a feature video. So all of this video, these trends in video are pretty interesting, and I'm personally excited to see how people really get behind the video thing. I know podcasting is huge, but I think that it's easier to jump into podcasting than video creation, and that just might be me. I don't know. But some other news in the social sphere. The new Facebook at Work app, which I just downloaded and I haven't played around with yet, but supposedly you can essentially create your own little mini social network that mimics Facebook for your work environment. Like a Social Media Examiner, we could have our own little mini social network. I don't know, haven't really thought about the implications or usage of that yet, but...
Oh, employers are going to love trying to ban that one as well, aren't they?
Well, maybe
they
they'll
don't want
embrace
to
it.
ban that. They wouldn't
Yeah.
want to ban that one because it's inter-office communication.
Right. So it may be getting out of the group chats. I'm not really sure. I haven't played with it yet, but I am interested in that one. And so that's some of the more interesting things. A couple weeks ago, Instagram did a big purge of fake Instagram accounts. So a lot of people saw some major drops in their numbers. I found that one a little bit exciting. So, and I mean, mostly with celebrity accounts that you got to see the huge drops. But I always think it's great when you get rid of spam. And let me think what else.
While you're thinking, I'm just going to bring in, because I want some opinions here actually from everybody, because this is unique to me. It's unique to the UK, in fact, because there was an article, and what I'm just going to do is I'm going to try and bring it up. I'm going to try and screen share it, because I was astounded by this headline, and I've posted it in the showcase, which I'll open up in a second, just with regard to what is going on in the UK now, following obviously the atrocious events in France with this terrorism issue going on. And the British government have come up with something which I find quite astounding, which is WhatsApp and iMessage could be banned under new surveillance plans here in the UK. So it's not just WhatsApp, it's Snapchat too. And I thought, do you know what? I thought that's fascinating, because it's classical issues that the government are going to have with monitoring conversations, and it's all about the security service and not being able to monitor what is going on, because all these services are encrypted. And I wondered, I want to put it out there, do you guys think a government should be able to shut this sort of stuff down?
No. I'll just go straight to it. No, I don't. I think
agree
that
with Kim.
yeah, there's always a trade-off between security and privacy, but I think that right now they're capitalizing on this horrific event, much like the American government capitalized on 9/11 and using it. Well, we're gonna help try and make our country, our society safer by taking away certain freedoms. A year ago or 2 years ago, they didn't even want to admit to listening to conversations or reading conversation, and now the gloves are off. They're saying not only do we do it, but we're going to prevent you from having these private conversations because we can't access them. So that to me is the more interesting thing, the way that they're not even pretending anymore that conversations could potentially be private. Now, if they are private, they're going to be banned because they don't have access. That's frightening to me. That's more.
I think we're at risk, Kimberly, that we're at a risk that we're actually losing the freedoms that those victims at Charlie Hebdo had died for.
Absolutely.
And the governments, as you say, are using this as an excuse to get control over our privacy and make life easier for them, because they're not able to follow through with their investigations and that type of thing. So I'm totally against that, James.
Sorry, guys. Right, I just had to come back in there. Do apologise. So, do we all assume in the end to ban all communication, or did we not? I assume we voted against it, right?
That'd be a big thumbs down.
Big thumbs down. What about you, Anna? Thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs in the middle? That. In the middle? Guy, what do you reckon? Should we be able to, in extreme circumstances, monitor certain things or not? What do you reckon?
I think the government should control everything, and we should check with the government before we say anything.
Good idea.
1984.
We should suggest that. Do you know what? They wouldn't even be able to cope, I don't think, in my mind. And Peg, is it a big thumbs up or thumbs down for you?
I think that it's a tough balance, like Kimberly said, but I think that government shouldn't be able to turn it off, because sometimes that's where people are going to get their only information about what's going on.
So you're saying that in the UK they're proposing shutting down those things,
Yeah, absolutely.
including
Happened
messaging.
Yeah, definitely. Part of the problem about a year and a half ago was the BBM side. When we had the riots in London, just at the end of the economic crisis, all the youths, supposedly youths, who were burning everything down were communicating by BBM. It became a massive political issue, and people were just saying, look, shut down the BlackBerry messaging service, because quite frankly, it's giving people an access to communicate, which we can't monitor.
Right.
And so it's just reared its ugly head again, which is in extreme situations, the government are missing the fact that they can't monitor these methods of communication, which terrorists and others are finding ways around to communicate. That is the issue. And do you know what? The problem with that is that we could probably spend 3 hours debating the issue and invite 17,000 more people in, and I don't think we could still argue the point, because do you know what? I'm a little bit like that with this, because there's an aspect of being able to monitor things for the greater good of society. However, I just don't think they'll ever do that, and that's my issue with it.
We had an issue recently in my little teeny town. We had a riot at the Pumpkin Festival, and it made all the national news. And the way that the kids all talked about it was through, gosh, I can't even remember. It wasn't Snapchat. I think it was Kick. It was one that adults are not even on, but all the teens are on it. And they were all like, huge party, come bring your beer, and we're rioting. And then everybody was like, what is this riot? It was not a riot. It was a drunken college party, which the press picked up on and said, and then everybody was like, what are they rioting for? And then they were like, pumpkin spice lattes. It was like, it was horrible. It was like stupid, drunk, white college students with too much time on their hands. But anyway,
I love that.
It's funny, but it's not funny, because it actually did a lot of damage. And it was like a party of like 4,000 college students that came from all neighboring states. And they talked about it through messaging on Kick that adults didn't even see. And I don't know if anybody's on Kick, but it's kind of like Snapchat, like the messages disappear, but it's not photos. So they were just like, party, blah, come this time, and everybody came. So, in that aspect, yes, it certainly does make news travel fast, but I still would vote for it being public, because, freedom of speech, please.
But James,
go.
In Britain, do they have the War Measures Act? Because if it's a case of national security, then there are legal ways to address that. Either subpoena people's phones or messaging systems, because that's a huge rollback to our freedoms. And normally, for a country to do that, you'd have to create a state of emergency, and in Canada that would be, say, the War Measures Act, where everybody's rights are basically gone, But I'm surprised that Britain would take this by itself without maybe, are they debating it in Parliament, or is it just a decision they're going to make?
No, it'll have to be debated. It'll have to be debated, and I'm not sure where it's going to go. But I mean, what they're saying is that the companies like WhatsApp are refusing to adhere to it. They want to keep their messages encrypted, which means that the security service can't access it, and therefore that's why this is. I mean, it'll blow over. I'm sure it will. But it's just funny how this has all sort of really become apparent in the last 2 weeks. So, but I tell you what's really cool is the fact that we're having a highly political debate. And yet, Guy, for the fact that you mentioned that popcorn is a vegetable has now just created a massive discussion in the event page about whether or not you can have meat and popcorn together. And meat is fine if it's going to be the meat of an apple, says Christian. I mean, Christ, guys, you guys, I mean, and Carmen, you've come up with some cracking meat and popcorn for dinner. Sounds good to me.
I had meat. Popcorn's fine on its own.
You know what's really good is when you have whale with popcorn.
Oh, that's great, guys. That's perfect. It's whale sushi for everyone.
I don't know where the show's gone. It's gone terribly downhill. But look, I tell you what.
I had 3 updates to my brain this morning, so.
Total rewiring then, a total rewire.
Yeah.
But well, I tell you what, let's move on to the next bit. So, Kimberly, thank you so much for all your points in that. I've actually put some of the comments, the articles which we've just been referencing there. I'll put them in the showcase now. So anybody, again, live and recorded, can simply just click on that to get the information out, so that you guys can actually have a little bit more of a read around what we're talking about. And
did I give you the link to our new podcast that launched yesterday at Social Media Examiner, the Social Media Examiner show?
Plug it. I saw it on Twitter. That looks great.
Oh, it is. I'm gonna copy the link and put it into the chat, and then you can work your magic and put it wherever it needs to go.
Tiffany, I want you to know that Peg and I have been pimping out that new thing for you all day long.
And I want you to know that I've seen you pimping it out, and I appreciate it both. And I'm probably going to send you a fruit and popcorn basket as a thank you. So, or maybe we'll skip the fruit and just send you some popcorn. But yeah, it's exciting because I am very, very ADD. So listening to an entire hour podcast is really hard for me. But this new show is 10 minutes. You learn something new in 10 minutes, and you can also do like a little binge watching thing too, or listening thing also, and listen to a few of them in a row if you do have a longer attention span. But this is a great new format, and maybe you can speak to this, Sky, that it seems to me that podcasts, and I'm thinking video is going to go the same way, the podcasts have become so much more professional. The podcasts you listen to nowadays compared to a year or two ago, I mean, we've got the intros, outros, advertising now. They seem to be almost like real syndicated shows. It's kind of exciting.
I don't want to shake you up, but I have never recorded a podcast of my own.
You listen?
And I have never, I don't think I've ever listened to a podcast.
Oh, I'm crushed.
Do you know what, though? I tell you what, I must agree. I only started listening to podcasts about a month and a half ago, and I did it when I was on a massive road trip, and I had nothing else to do except listen.
Yeah. I'm new to. I'm a new listener also, and I don't listen to very many. But I think one that I'm going to start listening to is Jay Bears, because he's so funny, and I want to be entertained when I listen to podcasts. I just want to laugh, so that's going to be like social media and comedy. That would be my ideal podcast. So
you need to be on Jay's. Every time I'm on Jay's podcast, I giggle the whole time. It's totally, I'm like, wow, this is professional. But he's so funny, I giggle. The one that Guy and I did with Jay, I giggled the whole entire time.
See, that's perfect for me. I would love that.
How many listeners does he get to a session?
Jay has a lot. His podcast is very popular.
Is a lot 10,000, 100,000, or 1 million? What's a lot?
It's not 1 million. I would say in the thousands.
Huh.
Although he'd probably tell you on his podcast it was millions and millions and millions and millions, which would satisfy the sponsors, I'm sure.
No, but he does get great, and I love Mike Seltzner's also.
And
I'm excited about the new Social Media Examiner 10-minute fast one, because like Kimberly, I have to say I really don't like podcasts. I don't like listening to podcasts. I like to interact and read it myself more than I do listening to someone else explain.
I retain more reading. But for me, it's nice to have that overview, and because it's so fast, you can listen and then think, okay, that's something I'm going to delve deeper into. So it's kind of like.
The reason, you mentioned about this 10-minute side, and that's precisely the whole reason why this show got started, which is I felt an hour was an awful long time on a hangout for people watching live and or recorded. And the whole premise was the fact that, we'll get into short 10-minute segments on different subjects so people can pick and choose the subjects they want. And the post-event is always time-stamped, so people click to where they want to get to. That's the whole point. Otherwise, hangouts for me are very long and drawn out at sometimes, and it's asking a lot of people's time, panelists as well as the watchers. So there you are. I just wanted to mention, there's a lot of people watching, so thank you guys ever so much for tuning in. Christ, there's been some awfully serious points now from the guys like Scott and Pan and Susan, all about an ignorant society. I mean, Christ, this has gone off on another level. So, fair enough. There we go. So let's just sort of move on, because one of the things I have read a few books in my time. Look, you're like this, right? There's Guy's one, reality check. There's Your Network is Your Net Worth. Peg, you must have about 7,000 behind you, including your hashtag, which I think is exceptionally impressive. Art of Social behind your head, which is great. Let's talk about the Art of Social media, the e-book by you guys. It came out, what, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago now? I can't.
December 4th.
And tell me you haven't been checking your Amazon rankings at all.
I haven't been checking Amazon rankings at all.
I check them all the time.
I have my people do that.
This is Guy's 13th book, so for him, it's not. He checks. That's all he would do is check Amazon all day if he just did that. That's more of a new author thing where you're constantly checking them.
Yeah, that's like virgins do that.
All right. I'm 18 months in and I still check mine. Right, 18 months, and it slowly depresses me when I see it going down the rankings, and I feel a little bit happy when it goes up a little bit, and I don't know why, but there you go.
Human nature.
Yeah, it probably is, and because it's a book about beekeeping, it randomly goes with the seasons, so it's easy.
Seriously? You wrote a book about beekeeping?
Yeah, it's how I got into social media, because my company banned me from talking about social media. And so I decided to set up a complete pseudonym in the most random of topics I could ever conceivably imagine, which I thought was a beekeeper, and build a complete brand around me being a beekeeper. And yeah, so I've written a book about it, and I've recorded 2 DVDs now. So it's
But you're not a beekeeper, or you are?
I kind of have to be now.
Yeah.
Jeff C is an apiary. What is it?
An apiarist. An apiarist.
Apiarist, yeah. Jeff C is also a beekeeper.
So you're telling us that you use social media to build buzz?
Absolutely.
He had to choose something else to talk about, so he was like, fine, I won't talk about what I want. I'll talk about bees, the secret life of bees.
Absolutely. And you know what? It was good. It was good fun, and I really enjoyed it. But there was I did a couple of DVDs when I was meant to be knowing what I was doing about beekeeping, and every time they were doing a shoot, and I was filming, I don't know, extracting honey or checking the bees, I would run upstairs, look on my iPad, check out YouTube as to how I was meant to be doing it, and then replicate it in front of a film crew in my back garden. Yeah, that was quite embarrassing.
You have risen in my book.
I'm about to drop down a little bit because look, tell me, Guy, you wrote a quote in your book which I loved, which was, and I'm gonna read it because I can't bring it in because the comment track is broken. If you're not pissing people off on social media, you're not doing it right.
Yes.
I pissed a lot of beekeepers off writing my social media stuff, I can tell you.
Well, now that you tell them you're a fake, well, I can understand that.
I'm not a fake anymore, you see. I'm not a fake anymore.
He was on the fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Well, look, I wanted to sort of go into a couple of bits of information from the book, which I found particularly interesting. One of them was that quote, because I think it is a little bit sensationalist in the sense of social media is about creating a buzz. But one of the ones I wasn't sure about, and I just wanted to sort of clarify, was you mentioned brevity beats verbosity on social media. And yes. For 2 reasons, really. Number one, I've never read those words ever before in my life. So I wanted clarification on that. And the second one was explain. I mean, what do you mean?
You never heard of brevity before?
No.
Have you not read his post? Obviously.
I flagged it on my Kindle, right, in fluorescent yellow, and went, what does that mean? I've got to ask Guy. So I'm going to ask you.
It's a short question.
What do you mean?
In your Kindle, you can look words up if you click on them. You can look them right up in the dictionary.
That shows you how bad I am at Kindle use, doesn't it?
You do, yeah. You can do that on your Kindle. So brevity is short. Brevity is short and sweet. And verbosity is long, 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 long.
So does it beat on every social media network?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of someplace where you should get up in the morning saying, I'm going to go be verbose. I mean...
I know what that means now.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between verbose and long form. I mean, I think some platforms like Google Plus is very friendly to long form content. But there's a difference between verbose and writing a long post. If the long post is what you need to get your point across, great. If you're just writing a long post to just hear yourself write or whatever, that's verbose.
I've never seen a long post that I liked.
Oh, really?
Long post sometimes, Mr. Smarty Pants.
But a long post for me is 1,000 words. I mean, that's like war and peace in social media.
Well, the funny example, I think that it was Evan Edinger, who's a YouTuber, experimented, and he put the whole entire first chapter of Great Gatsby in as one Google Plus post, and it fit.
Yeah. And did anybody reshare it?
Actually, Shayla added the second chapter because she got it. She was like, "That's Great Gatsby." But yeah, to Ray's point exactly, if you're saying 1,000 words of really awesome stuff, amen. Like if you have 1,000 smart words to say that are succinct and bright and people are dying to read it, sure. But if you're just writing 1,000 words that no one wants to read, then
I've got to say,
that's a mighty big if.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you just have to read Gideon Rosenblatt's stuff or David Amberlin's stuff on Google Plus. I mean, that's good stuff.
It's quality, right? But I tell you what, that's one of the things I like about the book, which is, and some of the HOAs that you've done previously before this, is that there's almost a conflict between the two of you, which comes across in the book, which as a marketer I love because I can get two opinions, right? You absolutely.
You should read our email, James, where we discuss these things. That is true. That is more Guy's opinion for short posts. I do write longer posts on Google Plus.
Because there's also, and in fact, actually, just while I'm here, for those of you who are interested, I've just put links to Guy and Peg's book in the Showcase app. So if you want to go ahead and buy it, you can do it right now from that. And we'll mention the special offer a little bit later on.
And they should buy it today because today it's 99 cents on Kindle, US only.
Absolutely, and that is on the title for you. So 99 cents. Christ, I wish I was in the US. But the other thing that you guys disagree quite a lot on was the amount you post, right?
No.
I post a lot too. Here's the things, James. I have over 100,000 tweets on Twitter, and I don't repeat my posts 4 times. And Guy has 100.
That's the one. That's it.
Guy has 135,000 tweets, and he does repeat his. So technically, I tweet more. I really do tweet just as much as he does, almost. I don't post as much on Facebook as Guy does, but I do post a lot everywhere. I mean, a lot of people say they can't find enough content to post. I'm actually thankful that I have a lot of different platforms because sometimes I want to post a lot. I mean. So
you are unique. So your posts are all unique. Guy, I know you repeat your posts, as I do, I have to say, and for a lot of our clients, for every other platform other than Twitter, I'm pretty sure I follow the stuff that you do, which is you post uniquely to some platforms, but Twitter, because of the whole nature of how it goes, you repeat your posts. I think you're more in that camp from what I've read and understood and you've discussed. So
I do repeat tweets, but not like 4 times in the same day. Like if I have a blog post,
I don't repeat 4 times in the same day.
4 times in 24 hours from Holy Cow.
No, 4 times in 2 days.
4 times in 2 days. Got it.
You guys have got to read the book because this is what it's all about. You see, you get all these different viewpoints coming in.
But
we agree on the premise. We agree with basic, like, don't post once a day. That's where, our fundamental social media is the same, but we obviously have different opinions on some things.
Which is good.
But this is in marked contrast. Until very recently, most social media experts, which is an oxymoron, by the way, recommended, posting once per day in Facebook and 4 times a day in Twitter and never repeating anything, and that is just wrong.
Yeah, I agree with that, and especially with the Facebook changes now, with EdgeRank going down so much. I think if you're a brand running a Facebook page, and if you only post one thing a day, I think no one is going to see your content at all anymore.
Well, you could pay.
Yeah, you could pay.
You can pay, but you can pay, and they do, and they are better when you do promote. That is obviously true. But I think that you can still have good organic reach if you post more than once a day, if you're posting great content. It's not great. It's not like, I can't say Facebook EdgeRank is great because that's not what I meant, but you do better if you post more content on Facebook.
I have a theory that digital agencies and consultants love the fact that EdgeRank is getting lower and lower. because now instead of focusing on making good content, they just put any crap up and they throw the client's money at it, and that's easier.
Well, they go. It's more. They adopt. They go back to the traditional advertising model, right? I mean, it's now it's advertising. It's like Facebook is now like network TV. You buy ads for spots.
Right.
Right.
But I think that's where agencies have been for the past year, where they're guaranteeing clients that they're going to get great results because they promote it, not necessarily because their content is good. That's the thing, like the big brands. Some of the big brand content is amazing, like Oreo cookie, everything they do. I think they're funny. I know there was like 2 girls that were behind their, slam dunk campaigns and a lot of the stuff they did that I don't think are doing their stuff anymore, but there are brands who consistently create really unique and interesting content, and then there's some brands who don't even seem to be paying attention, that nobody cares about. They're really bored. They're basically posting ads, not like good marketing, which, there's a difference between sales and advertising and PR and marketing. But yeah, because they were promoting them, they would still do well. So they could tell the client, but look, it got, X amount of
The metaphor that I use that Peg hates is, this is like, you walked into a whorehouse with $1,000 and you had sex and you believe you're hot. I mean, like, it makes no sense.
I don't think I've ever heard that metaphor, but you're right.
I tell you what,
that's a hard one to forget.
It's a great metaphor, right? It's a great metaphor. But I tell you what, two of the case studies we had recently about social media campaigns, which I thought was fantastic. We had Grant Leboff on a few weeks back talking about the JetBlue campaign, about getting customers to tell the story, which is very unique. And talking about the whole brevity and verbosity stuff, there's a campaign a couple of months ago, and I can't remember the damn company, and it's going to wind me up now, who basically essentially just turned everything off and they went black.
Yeah.
And they did their cover photos on Twitter. They didn't do any posts at all. They basically.
It was Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. How fantastic is that? When they basically made everyone think they'd left, and the silence was golden. Which.
But it was only one day. It was only 24 hours.
Fun though. Great.
Yeah.
I loved it. Well, look, let me just go some of the comments. Sheila agrees with you, guys, Kawasaki, about the agencies, which is good. Kristen, repeating posts is fine, just don't repeat responses to engagers. What do we got?
Responses to engagers?
Yeah, so I'm presuming. Let's have a look. Oh, I've just skipped it on. I'll come back onto that one. But Carmen has got a sad face. It's not available for 99 cents in Europe. Sad face.
I know.
Sorry.
Sad face.
And you know what? I mean, this is something that just is bizarre. So, as the co-authors, we would love if it's for sale everywhere in the world for 99 cents, and we cannot make that happen. We simply cannot do it. It's like every country in Amazon has a different thing, and this is where traditional publishing breaks down. Self-publishing, we could do it.
Very true. Well, Julie loves your book. She says, Julie Holberg, I love the book, Guy and Peg, which is great. I've also got some very silly comments. So thanks, Kristen. Have you ever been stung by social media? Thanks for that, Kristen. I've got Carmen saying, honey being made it here. Honey being made it here. Oh dear. And then we've got BL. Hi BL. Couldn't agree more with the short post on social media. Otherwise, TLDR, BL. That's great. Well, look, to sort of finish off with all that sort of stuff. So in the Showcase app, you've got the European or the UK and the US links to click on to get the Kindle version of Guy and Peg's book. And I generally couldn't recommend it enough, to be honest. I mean, there's so many things in there. And I don't think we've got enough time, but one of the things I really picked out on there was the fact that you guys use Tumblr in order to stockpile all of your content which is going out, which is something which I hadn't heard before because I use something totally different.
Yeah.
Have you got a quick 30-second overview of exactly what that's all about? Because that really was interesting for me.
Yeah. So this is what we do. So Peg and I are constantly curating, so we're constantly on the hunt for great content. And so a lot of times I do this in the middle of the night because I just wake up and I say, oh, why don't I check my iPad to see what happened? And so, I don't want to get up and compose the post at 3 a.m., so I just need a little tickler file. So I used to just, we did something like we had a Google Plus where it was a circle with only the 2 of us in it, so only the 2 of us would see it. And I finally got to thinking, well, we're kind of creating this list of, the best of for people to share. Why don't we make it public so people can share what we're about to share? and do it as a public service. And we found that Tumblr was the best platform for this for several reasons. One of which is, you can, in iOS, you can just click with 2 clicks and share it to Tumblr. And also Tumblr is integrated with MailChimp. So we started a MailChimp list so people could subscribe to the daily email of the stuff that we're curating that we're going to post. So it's all public service.
There you go. In a nutshell. Guy, thanks ever so much for that. That was a great summary. And I'm just going to leave you with this, which is one of the quotes I really liked as well, which is the gist of planning of social media. So the gist of planning of social media, all content marketing is simple. Figure out how to make money, figure out what kind of people you need to attract to make money, figure out find out what those people want to read, which is probably different from what you want them to read. And that was one of my valuable quotes, actually, from in that. So. And especially because I think you're thinking money first, which is good. Look, we're running out of time. We've got 10 minutes left. Ray, we're leaving the best till last. And bearing in mind, as Karen has put in here, pumpkin lattes, popcorn, faux beekeeper, now $1,000 blank. What a show. I hope you got a big finish about what's going on with the Google world at the moment.
Wow, not like the pressure is on. First of all, I have to follow a guy in Peg. Great book, by the way. I think it's a book that you should hand every small business owner when they're just sort of starting on social media, because it's very simple, like really good tips, very to the point. Social media theory going around is it's excellent. So congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
So James, I can only assume that you put me last because we're on the platform that you had so much difficulty with this Hangout, and so in terms of what's new for Google Plus, there hasn't been a lot of big updates, man. I mean, in the last just the last few months, there's been a couple that I like. I love the new mention tab with notifications where, if you want to find out who's mentioned you in post, you can go right to that tab and get them all there, and that way you can go back to those people, thank them, engage with them. I find that very useful. But I think the trend that I see with Google Plus is that it's definitely focusing on Google My Business, which they've done some excellent updates to recently, and mobile. They just recently updated the Google Plus app for iOS, so that those photos and stuff represent really well on the iOS 6 and 6 Plus. So those are the big things. You shared something today about the Google Translate Turns Interpreter, and I think maybe I can have it here. Maybe I can share that.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, that, because I think it's not just about what's happening today. It's about what could happen in the next sort of 6-12 months with that. I think it's quite a fascinating little bit of information there.
Yep. Totally. So that's it here. I'm sharing it here if you want to pin that.
Yeah.
So Google Translate Turns Interpreter with voice function. I played with that a little bit, and I think it's very cool. I wasn't aware that it was available on Skype before. So that's cool. So I'll check that on Skype. I think isn't there a fee on Skype to do that, to something a month or whatever? Anyway. So yeah, Google Plus. So that's a lot of new stuff there. So what I find myself doing, I mean, I have my my community here, and I send out tips all the time. But I have to say that we were talking about this in the green room somewhat, and the problems with Google Plus, and I think you hit something very clever, and that is that Google Plus should not be referred to as a social network or social platform. And I've been getting away from that because I tend to use it more as a business product, suite. There's so many things on it. The Hangouts for the video conferencing, the posts for content marketing, lead generation, relationship marketing. I mean, there's all those things that are kind of independent. And when I did a show before Christmas, we did sort of our typical predictions of 2015. I can see Google Plus basically breaking up somewhat and putting those big pieces anyway, like they do, like with YouTube, and doing the Hangouts, those as separate things, and photos especially, where people will enter those things independently of Google Plus, and they'll always have to be the social platform in terms of interaction and posting things. But I think that's how I sort of see it. I think I see them loosening up and making those as standalone apps.
Well, I tell you what, just picking up on that Hangout point there about what you mentioned with the BBC stuff that you just shared a second ago, because I think that all relates with this whole Hangout side of things, which is just for the people who are watching here. What they've just done is, a while back, Google acquired WordLens, which is an augmented reality platform which allows you to basically hold your smartphone up against text, whether it be a sign or a restaurant menu or whatever it might be, and automatically in the viewfinder it will translate it for you live. And Google Translate at the time didn't have that many languages that you could automatically translate. WordLens brought a whole new portfolio of languages and options to get the translation done. So WordLens has already been integrated in Glass, which I don't know where mine are somewhere around here. So when you're looking through Glass, it'll automatically change. This is like WordLens, the next generation, which is when you're speaking to the phone, it'll automatically translate to the other person on the other side. And what you mentioned there, Ray, about the whole point of this automatic translation from Google on the verbal side of things is the fact that with Skype, as you're talking into the Skype call, it will automatically translate on the other side to the viewer listening. Doesn't really make sense. To the viewer on the other side in their own language. And I think that's a particularly interesting thing from the HMA world, which is it's not going to take long for Google to catch up on this, where we can be hosting Hangouts of this nature across languages using live auto-translating.
That would be cool. That would be like awesome.
I can't wait for the day when we have Hangouts and I have to say in another language, well, click on the thing up there because you're muted. I mean, you know, that'll be the day.
Trust me, there are days like today when you're having to do lots of pointing and reading out comments and...
My theory is the person who designed Google Hangouts got fired from Microsoft for designing Word.
Harsh.
Well, there is I can see the parallel there, Guy. Totally. I think they should come out with a Google Plus Lite.
Yeah. L-I-G-H-T or L-I-T-E?
L-I-T-E.
Oh, well, so that's been pretty cool. Anything else kicking around, Guy? I know it's been relatively quiet, although 3 updates today on Chrome, which has mucked all this up. But anything else kicking around out there?
We should talk about our Google Plus wish list. That's, you know.
I published one earlier.
Oh, yeah?
I have like 10 things.
Top 3 or so?
I CC'd Dave Bresbis, and I thought, but I haven't heard back, surprisingly enough. But yeah, man. Like first of all, hire marketers so that people know what the hell Google Plus is. Secondly, simplify it. Well, as you said, Guy, make Hangouts a happier experience. And I think, as far as the post goes, one of my favorites is, why not use all the back of Blogger, which is in the Google Plus post. It's almost there, but instead of hitting the asterisk to bold things, why not make those posts, like little blogs? That would be a huge help.
Well, I'm sure there is a list as long as most people's arms about what we do with Google Plus, but at the end of the day, like I said in the green room, which most of you guys and certainly the people here listening didn't hear me say, which is, for me, Google Plus, and this is what I say in all the speeches I give, Google Plus is like a high-maintenance marriage. And it's not going to iron your shirt in the daytime. It's not going to bring you a cup of coffee when you want it. It's not going to wish you sweet nothings when you go to work. It's not going to do that for you. It's going to aggravate you. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be tough. You're going to constantly get emotional about the whole thing. It's going to annoy you. But you know what? It gives a lot back in return at the end of the day. And that's what I always think about Google Plus, no matter how much it frustrates me. Okay, look, we're coming into the hour. I don't want to sort of take up everybody's time. Just a quick link, mention about the content that Guy and Peg was discussing earlier on about the Tumblr and subscribing to that. I put a link in the showcase, so if you're watching this on the recorded side, you can come back to that and click. It's right at the bottom of the of all the bits and pieces of information that we've got in there. I've also put in there all the stuff about the UK trying to ban WhatsApp and iMessages and Snapchats and all this sort of stuff, if you're interested in just why exactly they're trying to do it all. And really, I just want to sort of thank everybody here for all the time. And before you go, I want to share something. I always try to end the show, and I normally get sort of 5-10 minutes to talk about some mad, wacky technology stuff which is going on in my world, which is a lot of stuff that I get involved with. And I felt I had to give something which is coming out of the Consumer Electronics Show this year, and it's going to be brilliant for you guys who follow the Cataday hashtag, which is this one. So this is, for me, the most bonkers invention coming out of the CES. I'll just green but blue. There we are. And now, so this is called PetCube, right? It lets you watch, play, and talk to your pets at home from anywhere on your phone. It is basically a box with a camera, a built-in microphone, and a laser pointer. So you can access PetCube using the app on your phone. And so I'm sure there's going to be some very crazy pet lovers out there. Do you know what?
My dog would be so confused by that. He would be like, what? I have a gold retriever. He's like, he would just be looking for me. That would be confusing.
You know what? It's the laser pointer. That's the bit I don't get. Yeah. I'm trying to imagine how that works. It might work on kittens, but maybe not on cats. But, look, I'm going to finish with one point before we all go. This is a quote from your book, Peggy. Facebook is for people. I love this one. LinkedIn is for pimping. Pinterest is for pictures. Twitter's for perception. Google Plus is most definitely for passion. I've tried to do this. The midweek marketing mix is playtime for social digital professionals. There we go. That's it. That's my attempt. Trying to bring in all the P's. But thanks for joining me.
Perfect.
We'll be back in perfect. We will be back in a couple of weeks' time, and yeah, Susan, you're right. Lots of confessions in this episode. You're absolutely right. We've also invented a new hashtag, which is snackable vegetables as a hashtag. And Renee Todd, just thanks for that bit of information. For those of you who want to read everything on Android, Renee Todd has mentioned that Google Play also has their book for 99 cents today. Just for your information.
Mm-hmm. Score! We didn't even know that.
We should have done a 2 for $1.50.
So I'm going to go. I'm just going to introduce you. This is my little 6-year-old. It's been a little bit of yeah, mate. No, these are all around the world.
How?
He's like, what?
So look, from me and Sebastian and little Edward who's in there, thanks ever so much for your time, and no doubt we'll see you next time on the Midweek Marketing Mix. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.